want to talk about that?
At least like for the moment, we could just talk about our thoughts. I mean, I did finish the show. Definitely, it was. I enjoyed the show more than any. I enjoyed the show. Like, just to say it, I guess like what made me find it slightly lackluster is that as far as like the amount of action and fighting goes, it didn't really compare much to
The original too.
No. To be honest, I was thinking about the
King of Nashua?
No, what effing Oma effing Oh wait, yes,
King of Nashua.
King of Nashua. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, that show had like literally like boss fights every single eps. So it's like coming right off of that, it just seemed like less action and such. But in the sense of like the actual Baki season 1 and 2, as far as fights go, they still. I'm pretty sure they actually like correspond decently well, I guess, in that respect. Granted, the fights still weren't as in depth as what I was hoping for. So like at a 1 out of 10 or like a decent rating, I'd probably give the series overall maybe like a decent plus, especially considering like how much I'm on the fence with how they did Muhammad Ali and like his son, or my correction, Muhammad Alai and his son Muhammad Alai Jr. I'll wait to talk about it so I don't spoil it since y'all in the middle. But like those last 2 episodes, y'all are definitely going to be feeling a certain way. So just be ready.
I didn't feel anything like from.
Oh, did you finish?
Yeah, I'm finished. Yeah, I finished like last week, I think.
Okay. I
mean, my only thing I don't like is
I'll talk about it, but like I'm really curious on your thoughts, like how they did Muhammad Ali Jr.
I don't care about spoilers, so you could tell me. I don't know if Gramps or Player 5 are watching or care about spoilers. Okay. If y'all care, then you can save it. But for me, I don't care, so you can talk about it.
Yeah, I don't care.
So go. All right. So I mean, for me, it's like he lost to Baki. I mean,
that was expected, right?
Yeah, I didn't think, but I mean, he did get his ass bucked. Like he in like 2 seconds.
One-sided.
Like, right.
Oh
no,
yeah,
bro. Yeah, like it was. It was like
he couldn't even touch
dog
Baki.
stuff. Like
it was literally like a 2-second fight.
But it's like it's how it was the build up and then the actual delivery that kind of got me effed up. Because like pretty much after the tournament happens, all that pretty much matters is Muhammad Ali Jr. versus Baki, and then like the build up starts to happen, right? And like Muhammad Ali Jr. starts going up against like all the previous big hitters of that Baki had to triumph over. I can't think of the names, but like Orochi was one of them, and then a small judo buddy was one of them. And he then like the first fight, like he literally calls him out. He was like, "Yo, I've been trying to beat Baki, so I'm trying to beat all Baki struggles previously." And like they pretty much like go back to saying like Muhammad Ali Jr.'s like speed, punching ability, technique, all around like martial arts is like just like amazing, right? And he just like drops Orochi, drops Judo Buddy, and he just like feeling good, right? And then just like no. And then what happened is that he went up against Baki's brother, Jack. He went
the dude that got
Jack, and like that fight was actually pretty. It was legit. I actually didn't have a problem with it. And then he gets slapped, and I was like, okay, so Muhammad Ali Jr. Okay, he gets rocked, he loses. So let's see how he's gonna bounce back for the fight against Baki. But what happens directly after that is that he gets challenged then by Orochi and Judo Buddy. And even though he's like super injured, broken leg, broken arm, broken face, they still challenge him and then they curb stomp him.
So they just jumped that nigga.
They jumped him?
They just jumped him.
No, it is
not a fucking challenge.
Jump him. It's like it was like one at a time, but he was injured. He was just fucked up from the
that's pretty much like the equivalent to jumping, in my opinion. I mean,
they jumped him, but they just said we'll do a 1v1.
I mean, they saw the cast on his body, said we still want to smoke, and then pretty much turned up harder than what they did in their previous fights. So, I mean, I just didn't really get what was the big message in doing that. That's what got me conflicted.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
I'm with you on that, and like just to piggyback off that, like with my thoughts, I'm only halfway through, but what I noticed even through like the season 2 halfway is that Baki with the fights, it slowed down like dramatically to me in terms of like pacing. Like it really bothered me after like the sex scene, that incident, like how they kind of just let the German guy and that other guy with the air ability, they pretty much just hold them after that. Like they weren't even real major pieces to the story anymore. The battles against them wasn't as significant as like the previous jailbreak dudes were.
Yeah, so at that point, that's when Baki like powered up, right?
Yeah, that's when the pacing. Yeah, that's when the pacing started kind of like getting weird for me with Baki, and why it's like the first couple seasons of Baki, like the first one and like the beginning of the second one specifically, were way more like the way the first couple seasons of Kengan Ashura are told in their story, where like the battles are really like you don't know who's gonna win at the end. What I noticed a lot in this season 3, especially with this Raitai tournament, is these niggas was getting curb stomped every battle. Like almost, I didn't remember seeing a single challenging battle. Like where I'm at right now, I still haven't really seen one. Like it was cool to see Yujiro fight. What do you mean? Like Baki's group? Like they didn't have like any of the notable characters from Baki groups, like that bald Japanese guy. I already knew that some goofy shit was gonna happen for him because I was like, there's a good guy on the other side. So like they need to have somebody to fuck this man up. Like, you know what I'm saying? They need to have somebody who's gonna take an L on the other side, and it's not gonna be Biscuit or whatever his name is, the black guy. It's not gonna be Baki, and it's not gonna be Yujiro. So I'm like, you're the odd man out, bald Japanese guy. Like, you gonna take this L.
I ain't gonna lie. I thought Biscuit was gonna lose, man.
Yeah, for
I thought so too.
I thought he was too cocky.
I really did. I'm glad he won, though. If anything, that's like
I would have been mad. I would be mad if he lost. That's why I don't care about Muhammad Ali or Junior. I don't care about him. To me, that entire thing was just like hype. It was just the hype of Baki, like so he can finally like prove that he's strong enough to fight his dad. That's all it was for.
I don't know. Like to me, so like I said, when I'm reading the story, I've read this. I haven't read this, but I've read the arc of Baki where he finally fights his father, and when he gets to that point, the way they show Yujiro in that story specifically compared to the way he's displayed in this anime is like even leagues higher. Like they were trying to hype him up a little bit there, but I'm telling you, like the level of hype I remember reading in that arc, I was like, I don't know what happens to Yujiro between this season and when they have their fight, because dude, like I guess he super scales up or something, but they made that fight way crazier, in my opinion. The other part, like I was saying, is just I just think this whole season just was like, I don't remember I wasn't as captivated with this season. Like I said, the fights were like really quick. Like they weren't interesting because like it was so one-sided. It was like I've already seen what Biscuit can do, and then he goes against this guy who's like, oh yeah, I did. They try to put a little bit of hype on him, but then they really didn't. Like he was the closest to the old school Baki fights I remember, and even then it still wasn't that difficult. Like I loved how the gangster guy had his fight in that last season. The gangster guy's fight was fucking amazing versus the I don't know, I guess he's black, the dude from jail. That shit was crazy. Like they went down to like the last before we found the winner. But like this, I don't think any of them really struggled. And then the way Baki disrespected dude's son, I was like, they put all these hypes on these Chinese dudes, and then
they garbage.
Yeah, I was like, the biggest statement ever was, yeah, we gonna take y'all 5 dubs straight. I was like, do they know who they going against? I was like, none of y'all
they lost the first match.
Yeah. I was like, yo, this is goofy. I was like, y'all are a bunch of goofies. But I felt like that is what it ended up becoming. So like I'm not surprised about the Muhammad thing. That thing reminds me of like some weird Japanese elitist bullshit to me, because that's how I felt the Raitai tournament was. The Raitai tournament was like Japan shitting on China. They were just talking way too much about. Yeah, they were just talking way too much about how they're shitting on Chinese martial arts. Like I was like, oh, this seems like this has some like political undertones to it that I don't really appreciate. It just seemed to like be overhyping the Japanese niggas and the fact that they're Japanese than it did to like then it focused on like the actual fighting skill and how unique and strong that is. Right. Like they did in the other battles. So, I don't know. That was my thing on it. So, I'm not surprised about the Muhammad thing. It's disappointing. But, yeah, I don't like that it went to there. What I will say is that he eventually fights, what's-his-face, Biscuit or Strong Dude. And I guess they put more respect on black guys there. But, I mean, I don't know. we'll see. Yeah. So that might be the next season.
I mean, like, so yeah, the fighting compared to like previous seasons, it's definitely like much like worse. Like you said, they're like really quick fights. It's not as interesting as it was before at all. It's like it's almost like it's kind of a chore to watch it almost like this season. And then what? So I know you like Juggle was mad about like Muhammad Alai Jr. losing or whatever so easily. To me, what only pissed me off the most was the whole thing of him trying to talk to Baki's girl. That shit was so strange to me.
That's true.
Like he tried to talk to Baki's girl.
Yeah, he trying to marry this girl. I'm like, it didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, does her pussy have some kind of magic powers to make niggas strong? Is that what you're trying to do?
No,
like,
I think I know. I think I know what the issue was. I think I know the reason behind that because I just watched this episode when Baki went to go visit some old ass tree, and he was saying, you know, how the tree is still standing. Muhammad Ali Jr. came over there and he was like, "Yo, let's box, man." Baki was like, "Nah, I'm good, man. I don't want to fight you." And then he dipped off, and Muhammad Ali Jr. was like, "All right, I'm gonna fucking make you fight me." And I assumed he was going to do something with his girl to try to make Baki mad at him to want to fight him. And I'm guessing that was it. Try to use his girl to make him want to fight against him.
Shit, it didn't work. It just seemed like strange to me. Like, and he was actually like trying to like telling this girl he want to marry her. You're the most beautiful. Like, again, niggas like lie and shit, but that was just weird. Like, what was the point?
No, it really was. I mean, I'll give them that they literally hinted maybe like one episode in season 2. Like I vaguely remember where like they at least knew each other, but to try and pull like the whole marriage thing, that was way too much. That was just way too much.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I can see how if Keigen Ashura didn't do that stupid 3D cell shading shit, I think that would be more popping to me right now. But it did it. So Baki's still being able to hold it. But yeah, this season so far, for me, is the worst of the 3. I don't think it's that great. Yeah. It started off with a pretty low note. Like even Baki getting his shit back, I think they cut it weird. Maybe that's where it is. It's like they kind of cut the season weird. You're following a story that kind of like continued from the last season. It just was really weird.
Yeah. In between the tournament, which was like kind of like strange. Like right before the tournament, I guess.
And what Muhammad Alakai or whatever. That's why I get so surprised with like these Yujiro challenges that they do. Because like I said, the last part I read, when he fights Yujiro, it just seems like he's so immensely strong, like nobody can stand a chance. So why I could see why like Jug is mad and why I'm a little bothered by that is like the level of respect they put on Alakai by even allowing him to throw hands with Yujiro in the very beginning of the season. Like they showed him run up on Yujiro and he was like, "All right, let's fight." You know what I'm saying? Huh?
Then he ran away.
He ran, but he ran on some goofy shit. But it was still more like they still were using it as a way to show like, oh, he's strong enough to even challenge this dude.
Yeah. So
you know what I'm saying?
So when it first happened, that's what I was thinking too. But later on in the season, like we realized that this nigga just like he just cocky for no reason because he not even that cold. Like he thought he could be Baki, and then got his ass dropped. He was fighting all them Japanese niggas, getting his ass dropped. So
yeah, it was
trash season.
It's like they hyped them up for nothing, really. Yep. Like not even like a respectable drop. That's what kind of got me. Like, I mean, if they, I don't know if that's the perfect way to do it, but I mean, like he did end up getting like a dub on Orochi and Judo Buddy. It's like why even give him the W's for that at all? Why not just have them lose those?
For them to come back a week later to fight again.
Right. And then to like, literally just get embarrassed, though. Like, literal embarrassment. And then after that, they even said, Orochi and Judo Buddy, like, literally said, yo, Baki versus Muhammad Ali Jr., who you think taking the dub? They actually gave it to Muhammad. They gave it to him. Like, they literally said, like, yo, like,
but
after our fight, he definitely leveled up to be better than Baki. And I was like, what? And then
I thought they were saying, like, I thought they said the other way around.
No. They said that because of the fights, because of how they did him dirty, that was supposed to be his lesson of like a real deathmatch kind of fight. And then after he like did his recuperating punching the punching bag, they were like, yeah, after like knowing his technique and the fights that we had with him, that was enough to put him over Baki. Like that was like their best. And like,
no, yeah, it was all a waste. Everything after that, the Sea King tournament was just like a waste of time.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, even the tournament itself was a waste of time. Also,
yeah, I only semi liked the match with Yujiro versus the old dude.
Yeah,
exactly. I thought that was okay. Yeah, I thought it was good. That was... Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that was the only match I was looking forward to in that whole tournament.
Yeah,
that's true.
And my thing is like I that's because it only reminded me of like the old style of Baki fights where it was like, okay, well, this guy has something, but it's like, oh, this guy also has something. And it's just that like one up match, even though dude still lost at the end. That shit to me though was hilarious. How this man tried to justify his L. Like I was like, yo, he was so scared of Yujiro that man turned him crazy because that man literally tried to justify that L so hard. He was like, well, I didn't die. So I guess I won. Because, martial arts is for the weak. So technically, as a weak person, if you survive the fight, you won. And they were just like, and I'm just like that guy who's like friends with Baki or whatever. I keep forgetting his name. But I'm just like, he has to just listen to this bullshit and just go like, yes, master, you right. But in his head, he like, damn, them niggas just dropped the fuck out this dude that I like chose to spend my life studying under or shit were like respect. Like, he was goofy. That shit was goofy.
Yeah.
I low-key, I might even change my goofy other thing to that because I just recently watched that, so I might have two goofies. But anyways, yeah,
he deserves it. He deserves it.
Yeah, he does.
He do, Mr. C Emperor with that goofy shit, bro. Bro, the boldness of the Raitai tournament, I just go like, y'all. I'm like, did y'all know what they came off of? Like, that's my thing. Like, did y'all know that they summoned all these niggas from the worst parts of the world or like the worst criminals in the world and they just finished fighting all these niggas? Like, did they know that? Because I feel like if they knew that, did they think they could beat those niggas? Because that's the only way I feel like you can have the boldness to say the strongest man in the universe is on the other side and you're like, 5 out of 5, straight dub. I would at least have the courtesy to say, we probably gonna take 4 of these. You know what I'm saying? Like, just assume you're gonna lose to Yujiro. And then, you know what I'm saying? You can get 4 dubs. But to say 5 straight, I was like, these niggas are bold.
Yeah. Well, we already seen that the old man, he kind of see now. He don't know what's going on when talking about he won the fight. So
that man was crazy, man. He was goofy.
But let's admit, if he were to be the one to fight against everybody on the other side, he probably would have won 4 of those matches.
I think so. I think he would have had a shot at least against Biscuit. Maybe they would have did some story bullshit to do Baki. But yeah, he would have dropped ball Japanese dude for sure. That's an easy dub. Yes. He coming off an easy dub with that Biscuit or whatever.
Yeah, and then Biscuit don't fight. Biscuit is strong.
Right.
With Muhammad Jr.
So, yeah, you could. Yeah, I mean, he would definitely beat Muhammad Alai, I think.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, the only other question would be Baki, but he would definitely take the other 3.
Yeah, he should have told them niggas move to the side. That's what I like when they was like, no, we'll still fight. And like, nah, nigga. That what they should have done, I think, would have made it more interesting. Was just had it like, here's our 5 guys, here's your 5 guys. Like we go till like the last man. So basically, you'll just keep fighting until you lose, and then you're like knocked out of the tournament kind of thing. So that way, we would have got to see him fight everybody, and then maybe like Yujiro would have just been at the end or some shit.
That could have been legit, actually.
That way I would have been like, I would have felt like they got the respect they needed as like these martial artists. But I felt like compared to the last season's enemies, the Raitai tournament niggas were straight trash, bro. Like they should have been first season enemies, if anything.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I guess the only difference is the big niggas with the last season, they also use weapons and all kinds of body modifications. I don't know if that's some stuff that would be allowed.
I mean, shit, they're coming back, so.
Yeah,
that's true.
They're coming back.
Oh, they coming back? They hyped that up?
Yeah. It's pretty much everyone, like ever since like, okay, so Baki like at the end like claimed, to fight his dad, and his dad finally accepted him. So like after that, supposedly that like started to make supernatural waves again. So like now all the prisoners
the synchronicity bullshit.
Right. So now they're going to be after Baki again, and they're like low-key training and going to be stronger before. That's like what they're hinting at.
Wow.
So what about that old white man that got turned into a little ass kid in a full old man's body?
I mean, he's supposedly still crazy, but he's working out his lower body hardcore, son. Like, bro, I mean, it's crazy. Like, no, like you gotta see it. His kid's legs are like
he be painting.
Huge.
He paints all day. That's what he does.
Yeah. Like he only just literally paints all day in a squatting position. Just straight.
Wow.
It's like what?
All right, well, good luck to him, Dorian. That dude's crazy, bro. All right. I guess on to the discussion topic for the anime segment. Was there anything else on Baki? I think we're good, right?
No, we're straight.
No, we good.